This wasn't a video that I was planning on making today, but at the time I'm recording this audio, the NBA just lost a legend. His name is Bill Walton, and he passed away at the age of 71 after a long battle with cancer. Bill Walton is somebody that I remember being involved in the game of basketball as a whole for many, many years, and he was a legend on and off the court. In college basketball, he is arguably the greatest college basketball player of all time. At the very least, he's right in the conversation with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, as he won 2 national championships with UCLA. In the NBA, he won 2 championships. One of them was as the best player, where he led his Portland Trail Blazers to the only championship they've ever had in franchise history, which occurred in 1977. The second championship was as the 6th man of the year, and that was playing for the 1986 Boston Celtics. Everybody thinks of Larry Bird, Robert Parrish, and Kevin McHale, but usually an afterthought to that team is Bill Walton, and he was massive to their dominant success that year. Now, Walton had a really unique legacy in the sense that he was an NBA legend, but he was also one of the greatest what-ifs in basketball history. The guy had a deep and vast injury history, to the point that I've called him the most injury-prone player of all time, even more so than guys like Anthony Davis.
Yeah. And the whole genesis of this came about this past summer when I had my 31st operation.
Now see, that's what, on your feet?
On my feet,
that's what I was talking about. That's crazy, isn't it?
In his first 4 seasons, while dealing with injuries, Walton was a league leader in blocks and rebounds. He was a league MVP, he was an NBA champion, and he was a finals MVP. He was already making an entrance into the competition of the greatest centers of all time. Now when you look at his skills, it's no surprise why. He was an above-average scorer, he was an elite shot blocker, he was a dominating force on the boards, and he was simply one of the greatest passing big men of all time, especially from the post. Unfortunately, his injuries, and especially his foot injuries, would really start to take their toll after his first 4 seasons. Between the summer of 1978 and the summer of 1982, he only played a total of 14 games. He was never the same as his dominant self in his youth. Even with all those injuries, obviously he was a basketball legend based on the first 4 seasons of his career. And thanks to that resume, he was honored as one of the 75 greatest players of all time. But you'd be very wrong if you thought that was all there was to Bill Walton. Walton built himself a legacy after the NBA as well. In my mind, he quickly became one of the voices of basketball, as he spent time being an analyst and a commentator for both the NBA and college basketball. There's a few ways I remember him, but one of them is that Walton was one of the greatest and most animated storytellers that I ever saw. He was just so animated, so enthusiastic, and his passion for the game of basketball was just so visible as he was sharing the details with the audience. Comically, I also remember him as one of the biggest overstaters of all time. Genuinely, I mean that. Me and my brother and my dad used to make jokes about it all the time. He was so quick to over-dramatize his analysis and make big statements that sometimes seemed a little premature, but it was funny because it was Bill Walton and that was his thing. Very frequently, he would be quick to call something the greatest ever, and he'd do it in the most theatrical way possible.
Yes, they're looking
LA,
forward, and why not?
Unbelievable steal for Mitch Kupchak. He's right in the mix for executive of the decade.
Wow.
Hey, that's ridiculous.
What does Danny Ainge think about that? Hey, coming up a little bit later, let's talk about Shaquille O'Neal. What kind of adjustments, what kind of Shaq do you expect to see tonight? How much better?
The Shaq landing here in the desert is just all too perfect with what's going on in the world out there, especially with the USA 193 satellite expected to come crashing down to Earth any day now here.
They shot it today.
This is not the first time this has happened, because approximately 50,000 years ago, a giant meteor came and crushed down in the northern desert up by Flagstaff in between the Grand Canyon. It was absolutely spectacular, and that's what's happened with Shaq just come crashing down in the beautiful, great state of Arizona. And when you also think about Shaq in Arizona, you have to think of the Grand Canyon. Come on, this place is so perfect. You get there, it's
Same
so
size.
huge.
Bring that high, hard one in. I stand in and lean back, and then just bam. And it sails away out through the universe like a radio wave that goes past Saturn and Jupiter, Pluto, through the black hole, and into many other galaxies yet named.
Beyond that, Walton didn't have much of a filter. He would say whatever was on his mind, whether it was harsh or whether it was kind, it didn't matter. He also didn't really think through his statements a lot of the times before he made them, and because of that, you'd often get statements from him that were just utterly hilarious and would go viral.
Just like all the Kings fans with DeMarcus Cousins, I want more. I don't want a 6-inch, I want a 12-inch from DeMarcus Cousins.
I remember him for being random, entertaining, enthusiastic, and always having a big smile while making everyone laugh around him, even if he wasn't intending to.
I'm not a very good catcher. I'm much better at getting high than getting low.
The way it usually does when Huskies and Bears get together. You ever seen Huskies and Bears fight? Because usually what happens when that happens is that the dogs come in and they nip and tuck around the Bears, who just kind of stand there and look around, and then eventually the Bears get tired of these little antagonistic Huskies. So the Bears, they just come and they just smash the Huskies. And that's what's happened right now. What are you talking about? I'm talking about Bears and Huskies, the matchup that we have tonight.
Birthday, happy birthday. What's your name in there?
Take a bite out of it while it's lit.
Well, it's lit.
Say, oh, I'm kidding. I can't.
Happy birthday, happy birthday. The moon, still up there, bright as can be.
What's wrong with you?
Ultimately, he was a great personality. He brought joy and smiles to people all around him, and he was one of the greatest basketball players of all time. The NBA truly lost a legend today, so I thought I'd get in front of a mic, share some thoughts on him, and let you guys know just how special he truly was. Thanks for watching as always. Make sure to like and subscribe for more basketball content, and I'll see you guys in the next video.